Hello, my wonderful friends. It's time for another story, a part 3 of this particular story. I'm already excited. This is from our friend, Not a Milady. I've been enjoying this story so much I can't express that. This is My Time Among the Otherkin Legbeards, part 3. Hello all, and welcome to part 3 of my Otherkin Legbeards saga. I apologize for not posting sooner, but my husband and I are trying to buy a house. It's not going well. As you imagine, the market sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you guys get one, though. I'm happy to be able to take out my frustration on the memories of the loathsome Legbeard trio, however. I'll include a couple of stories in this entry. Be warned, the last one is not so amusing as it is vile. It centers around a student passing away in the aftermath of that. Oh boy. Oh, I'm nervous already. Number 1. This first story is more annoying than anything, and I still feel the gnawing in my brain whenever I think about it. I mentioned before that Bella and Noodle were in my science class. On this day, we're performing an experiment. I think we're supposed to be making rock candy or something. Anyway, we had to fill out a worksheet along with the experiment, and Noodle and I were having a disagreement about a set of questions. So, in this experiment, the solute is the sugar, and the solvent is water.
No, you idiot. It's the other way around.
Are you sure? I'm checking the book. No, see, it says right here, solute dissolves in the solvent. Sugar is dissolved in the water, so it's the solute. So I showed her the book, and she looks at said book.
It's the other way around, see?
She shoves the book directly into my face. Solute, noun, the minor component in a solution, dissolved in the solvent. Noodle, there's even an example right here. They labeled sugar as the solute and water as the solvent. I'm not really sure what you're missing here.
It's the other way around, crap, for right through your feet.
Go ask the teacher. He'll settle this. It is settled. It's in the book. At that point, Noodle ran up to the teacher while Bella and I kept working. She came back with a smug grin on her face.
Teacher said I'm right. You have to change your answers.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you what. I'll put my answer and you put yours, and we'll just see who's right.
I already know I'm right. It's because you're an idiot.
Is that why I'm passing this class and you're not? This struck a nerve with Noodle, and she pushed me. I learned throughout the year that the teacher wasn't going to do anything about her, so I pushed her back. Now, I know one of the first rules they give you in science lab is no horseplay, but I was really sick of her. She stumbled back into the desk, catching herself just before she fell over entirely, and then started acting weird. She let herself get down onto the floor and started flailing her entire body. This is how she got her nickname. She looked like a pile of living, greasy, foul-smelling spaghetti. Oh my god. I was nervous that maybe she had epilepsy or something. I later learned that there's nothing physically wrong with her, and that's not what a seizure looks like. And I went to see if she was okay, and Bella stopped me. You made her too angry. Her vampire and werewolf have her fighting each other now. There's nothing we can do for her. Oh my god. So, like, when I'm fighting inside her, is that why she has to, like, flail? Is it... Oh my gosh. Oh shit, I can't. I fucking can't. I'm imagining it, and it's killing me. I rolled my eyes and kept working. Kids in other groups were staring, whispering, laughing at the scene that Noodle was making. I tried to ignore them and her as best I could. You know, she's actually really smart. She just doesn't apply herself because she's lazy. So is she really that smart then? Number 2. The second story begins in another class. I was in an aspiring artist class and would doodle a lot. My grandfather and father are both artists, and they specialize in realism. They began teaching me shading, dimension, and all this kind of stuff when I started trying to imitate them about age 9. I was making poop on paper at that age, but you could at least tell what my drawings were going to. I was about 13 when this story takes place. I like to practice drawing on the backs of tests, and I drew a lot of horses. One day, the teacher in that class approached me and asked me to draw some cowboys and livestock for the westward expansion unit where we were learning. Teacher wanted me to make a poster and hang it on the hall. I was ecstatic that she picked me out of everyone to make this poster, and of course I happily agreed, because I never got picked for anything. I was really proud of the poster when it was finished. My dad had walked me through a lot of the drawings, and it was some of the best work I'd ever done. And then, tragedy struck. I walked by the poster one day and found it completely destroyed. Pieces were ripped off, and someone had drawn penises on every single animal or person in Sharpie. It sounds ridiculous and kind of funny now, but at the time I was crushed. I cried all the way to my science class. I sat down at my table and cried more. Oh my god, that's horrible. What's wrong, Opoo? Somebody ruined my poster. I don't know why someone would do that. I worked really hard on it. I noticed Noodle was trying not to laugh. What's so funny?
Your drawings weren't that good anyway. You're a crap artist and you should just quit.
Noodle, did you do this?
I could draw better than you ever could dream. I'm going to be an animator in Japan when I grow up. You're just going to be a sad wannabe loser.
Did you ruin my poster?
What are you going to do about it? You're just a nobody. You'll never be an artist.
Wow, what an absolute bitch. Wow. I didn't speak to Noodle or Bella for the rest of the class. I went straight to the teacher who had asked me for the poster and told her what happened. Noodle was in her class in a different period than me, so I'm assuming she was punished for what she did then, but I never did find out. What I did find out later, however, from my friend group, not Bella, was that Noodle believed that any art style aside from anime was unacceptable in her eyes, and that many in that friend group had also had their art destroyed by her. I reiterate my previous point. What an absolute bitch. And number 3. This is your final warning for this story. This one still eats at me to this day. I was dropping my instrument off in music class with a friend from that class when, all of a sudden, a student in front of us dropped to the floor. They tried to get up, and they fell again, and then laid still. I remember their lips being kind of blue and their eyes being half open. We were herded to the nearest classroom. The school was put on lockdown. We later learned that the student had passed away in the hall. Oh my god. At lunch, nobody really talked much. I wanted to throw up after realizing that this person had died right in front of me, and I couldn't eat. I'm sure the friend that I was with at the time felt the same way, because she didn't eat either. The only people I remember acting relatively normal were Bella and Pup, and Pup was still on her daily hunt for chips, and Bella was chatting to no one. My ears perked up when I heard her say something vile. Yeah, me and Noodle have a plan to bring it back tonight. We all just kind of stared at her, and someone at the table asked, "What are you talking about?" I mean, name of the person who died. Since Noodle and I are vampires, we could just bring him back. It'll be like nothing ever happened. No one said a word, but I think Bella caught onto the tension and just kind of withered. She was silent until the bell rang. I, along with several other students at school, went home early that day because we felt horrible. No one in my group had known this person, but I still guess we kind of expected everybody to be respectful of them. I'm not sure what was wrong with the Legbeards. It didn't seem like this event affected them in any way. They didn't have to be sad, but they could have at least been respectful. Thank you for reading. I'll have one more part for you all, if you care to read it. Hoo boy. Yes, I would care to read it. I'll just go ahead and say that outright. Let's go with these from first to last, shall we? First off, I just can't get over the amount of arrogance that's in this person. Then again, she is still very young, so I guess that's, people when they're that young don't really seem to, have the ability to fully understand that sometimes their terrible behavior is just that, is really terrible behavior. And they just, get into this mindset of thinking they're so much better than everybody else. I remember we had this one kid who went to my high school before I changed schools, and he thought he was just like the smartest kid in the entire school, and he was incredibly arrogant about it, and just really kind of like just you don't understand because you're not smart. He was the living embodiment of like r/I'm very smart. He was very much that, and he got messed with not because he was smart, because he wasn't. His grades weren't that great compared to like some of the other people around him, but because he was an arrogant prick. And that's pretty much what it came down to, is because he was that much of an ass that people were just like, okay, you know, shut the fuck up about it. And I remember that kid. I remember we rode the same bus, and like people didn't like talking to him because he was just so arrogant and mean to everybody. I don't really know what made him think that was such a great idea, but yeah, that was kind of shitty. And Noodle being just like, I know all these things and you just don't, is kind of on that same level. It's kind of like, you need to calm the fuck down, dude. You need to calm the fuck down. Hopefully, she grew out of that. But the one thing that definitely set me off in this is the second part of this. There is absolutely no reason to vandalize and destroy someone's hard work just because you don't like it. I think we've already talked about someone in the past when it comes to certain art people who don't like things and tend to go out of their way to shit on them simply because they personally don't like them. Nobody gives a fuck what your personal tastes are, dude. You know, you can like something and that's fine, but when you go out of your way to shit on other people's stuff just because you don't like it, that kind of makes you an asshole. You know? That kind of makes you a pretty major asshole. Like, for example, I'm not the biggest anime fan. I know a lot of you, because a lot of you have actually said this to me, are big fans of that one anime. I believe it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm not a fan of it. But, obviously, it must be at least good or entertaining in some way because it has a fucking massive audience. So just because I personally don't like it or personally don't understand it doesn't make it any less good. And that's kind of the same thing here. Just because Noodle didn't like this drawing doesn't make it not a good drawing. It just makes them a prick. It's pretty much the bottom line there, bro. And then we get to the hard one. This one's extra strange. I can say what I hope, but I can't, make definitive claims. But I'll say what I hope. I really hope that this whole thing that Bella was talking about is just a form of projection or denial that something this horrible happened. I really hope that it's them not fully realizing or coping with the situation, and this idea of just like, well, we're vampires, we can just bring them back, is their way of being like, it's not real, because sometimes it happens. Sometimes when someone passes, even if you don't really know them, it can affect you in a really, really big way. It can affect you in ways that, you weren't ready for. I had a family member, I'm not going to say exactly who because, personal stuff, who passed away, and I remember maybe 2 days after that, I had a dream about them, and I don't usually dream, or if I do, I don't, in a way that I can remember it, but it was like just something that, it was, like, my dreams are really ridiculous. Sometimes things just happen, and it's very stream of consciousness, hard to follow kind of thing. But I remember specifically having a moment where I just went to this person and I hugged them, and I kept thinking to myself, please let this be real. I don't want I don't want reality. I want, I want my family back. And of course, it wasn't real. It's a dream. But for a while, for a few minutes or however long that dream was, and maybe a little bit after I woke up, I really wanted that to be real. And I really, really would do anything for it to be real. And I don't know that, their reaction was nearly as emotionally driven as mine obviously was, but maybe in their head it was that. Maybe it was just, that they can't be gone. There has to be a way back. There has to be a way to make it better. We believe we're vampires, so we can just do that, right? Like, we can just do that, but I don't know. I can't say definitively. I can say I hope that it was something along those lines, because not being able to cope with something and, being kind of weird about it, that's normal, But if they were actually serious, that's a whole different level. That's something else. And, yeah. I don't know about that one, homie. This ending got a little more emotionally charged than I expected it to, but this was still a very good story, and I would love to hear more. So, Nata Milady, if you have another episode or part of this, and I think you said you did, I look forward to reading it. So thank you all for being here. We're just going to cut out to this one, but thanks for being here, guys. I love you all. Be careful out there, okay? Bye.